Hello everyone, it's Dark Soulghost 01 back after over a year I believe. Yes, I'm here again today to show off my newest deck here. It's one that I originally made. In fact, it was my very first deck I think I've showed up on here. It's not actually in this deck box, I'm only showing that because I wanted to show something else on the video, but yeah, it's a recast of the Dark Magician deck that I originally made, but it's brand new. It's got brand new cards in it. Some you'll recognise from the old deck, some you won't. It's got cards from all the eras of Yu-Gi-Oh!, Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Monsters, Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, and even one card from Yu-Gi-Oh! Zeal, although I absolutely despise that series. Anyway, without much further ado, we'll get on to the decks. This isn't any order, this is the order that I built it in. It is at the currently, so I won't be doing it monsters, magic, traps as always, but I'll just do it as we go along in the flow. I'll also have an extra deck to show off this time as well, so I hope you guys enjoy, and I'll discuss some more stuff as we end the deck. So yeah, sorry about my stuttering, it's quite late here really, it's just gone past 11, so yeah. Anyway, begin. Magical Dimension. I don't think I need to explain this card. Basically, when you have spellcasters, tribute one card, and you can special summon another spellcaster from your monster, and also then afterwards you can destroy one monster on the field. This is a very, very good card for getting around stuff like Stardust Dragon, because you can't negate the effect of you can't negate the activation of this card because you have to tribute first for it before you can destroy. So Stardust can't get round Magical Dimension, and probably one of my favourite cards in the entire game. Skilled Dark Magician. Pretty basic. I've got a few of these in my deck I believe, so you'll see this again I'm pretty sure, and I'll explain more about that later. Followed by the actual Dark Magician. Don't need to explain it, it's just the best card, one of my favourite cards in my deck. Mirror Force. Dark Magician Girl. The Zeal card, Wonder Wand. Basically, in case you don't know what this is, it can only be equipped to a spellcaster type monster. The spellcaster monster gains gains 500 extra attack points, and then if you tribute, if your monster is the one that's equipped with Wonder Wand, you can tribute that monster and the Wonder Wand itself to draw twice. So it's quite useful really for drawing. Break of the Magical Warrior, you'll see more of these in my deck. This is very good since it's unlimited now. Well, it's been unlimited for quite a while actually. I didn't realise it had been unlimited for nearly 2 years now. But basically it destroys one spell or trap by removing the spell counter on it, and when it does have the spell counter on it, it gains 300 extra attack. Very powerful card, very useful, so like it. Magician's Circle. When a spellcaster type monster attacks, you can both players can special spellcaster with 2,000 or more attack, and if your opponent doesn't have one, well, all good for me really, isn't it? Dimension again. Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer, good for removing from play stuff, and of course then you can stop your opponent from moving stuff from your grave, so it's pretty good. An 1800 attack isn't too bad for a level 4, so I like that. Royal Degree. Naturally spellcaster decks don't require a lot of traps, so using Royal Degree can stop your opponent's ones, so it's pretty good for that purpose. Polymerization. This is for a few cards you'll see in my extra deck. I apologise for the cards slipping away there, that's because these were just recently sleeved. Dark Magician Girl again. Stop sliding away from me. Swords of Revealing Light. No need to explain this card, I'm sure everyone knows what that does by now. Magic Cylinder. Again, pretty much everyone should know what that one does as well, so I'm not going to explain that. Skilled Dark, again. Lightning Vortex. My final Skilled Dark Magician, which every time a spell card is played, puts a spell counter on it. Then when there's 3, I contribute it, and special summon Dark Magician from my hand, deck, or grave, so pretty good. Secret Village of the Spellcasters. This, along with Royal Degree, practically seals 2/3 of anyone's deck, minus like Gravekeepers, I would say, because basically, when I have a spellcaster on the field, not a spell counter, bleh, confusing my words, I apologise. My spellcaster on my side of the field, and my opponent does not, I can basically activate spells and my opponent can't. But if I don't have a spellcaster on the field, which, let's put it, all the monsters minus 1 in this deck isn't a spellcaster, so very unlikely that will happen. I can't activate spells. Knight and Sorcerer, the only tuner monster in this deck. I don't really use its effect, it's basically just used for a tuner, but it's alright if you want it. The Secret Village of the Spellcasters again. Dark Magician yet again. 1,000 Knives when Dark Magician's on face up on the field, destroy one face-up monster your opponent controls. Mahavilo. When this card... One of the most underrated cards in my opinion. This card can actually be the most powerful card in my entire deck. Basically when this card is equipped with any card it gains 500 extra attack. Magic Formula, one of my favourite cards. I don't care what people say. This came out in common, so it's not as valuable as it used to be and all that stuff, and it's still extremely valuable if you go on eBay and try and find a secret rare one like this one. They are pretty expensive still. Good Dark Magician Girl card, and good for recovering life points when destroyed. Valkyria, basically the marauding captain of my spellcaster deck. Monster Reborn, no need to explain. Magician's Valkyria again. Dark Magic attack, basically replace Heavy Storm in this deck. When Dark Magician's face up on the field, it basically does Harpy's Feather Duster's effect. The only non-spellcaster type monster in my deck, Buster Blader, so you probably figured out what polymerization's for then. Magical Dimension, break of the Magical Warrior. Magical Explosion, when I have no cards in my hand, I deal 200 points of damage for each spell card in my deck. Sorry, not my deck, my graveyard. Blech. Break of the Magical Warrior. Mage Power, gains 500 attack. My monster equipped with it gains 500 attack for each spell and trap card I have in my grave. Sorry, my grave on the field. Ugh, sorry, I really do apologise for my stupidity here. Blizzard Princess, a brand new card. Basically, this card is absolutely fantastic. In case you don't know what it does, I'm pretty sure some people who are watching this are saying, "Shut up, you daft bastard." But just in case you don't, basically you contribute summon this card in face of attack position by tributing a spellcaster type monster, and during the turn that is normal summoned, your opponent can't activate spell or traps. Very, very effective card. Sage's Stone. Again, I'm pretty sure pretty much everyone knows this, but when Dark Magician Girl is face up on the field, you can special summon Dark Magician from your deck when you play that card. Exemplar, good for resurrection stuff really, and the only real reason I've got it in my deck. I was contemplating should I put Gemini Elf or Mystical Elf in my deck instead of this, but in the end of the day, with all the magic cards, I think I can use it. United We Stand, another good equip spell. And Skilled White, which is basically Skilled Dark, but for Buster Blader instead. So, that is the main deck. My extra deck is just here a second, hang on a sec. Way. Here they are. They are Supreme Arcanite Magician, basically a fusion of a Spellcaster Synchro monster and a non-Synchro Spellcaster monster. It gains 1,000 attack points for each spell counter it has on it. It gains 2 when it's summoned. It can be fusioned by fusion summoning, and basically you remove one spell counter on it once per turn, and you can either have one of the following effects, which is either select one card on the field and destroy it, or you draw a card. The other card, Dark Paladin, which I'm pretty sure a lot of people saw that coming, considering the fact that I have Buster Blader and Dark Magician and Polymerization in my deck. So I'm not going to explain that one, because I'm sure a lot of people know what that does, especially if you've watched the Yugi versus Yusei duel that a friend of mine gave me. And finally Tempest Magician, the only reason why Supreme Arcanite Magician's really in the deck, but also good for burning and good to comboing with skilled, sorry, not skilled, what is it? Magical Explosion, that's it, sorry. dear me, this video, I'm going to get a lot of people saying, you're an absolute moron. Okay. Anyway, yeah, so the basic purpose of my deck is to stop spells and stop trap cards, basically, of my opponents. The only things that really affect it are like Gravekeepers and probably Black Rose Dragon, but minus that, not really anything can get past it, really, if you look at it to a logical extent. Also, I've got another strategy, which is to burn my opponent with like Magic Cylinder, Tempest Magician, Magical Explosion. So overall, this deck is... I've only just recently built this deck, in case anyone's wondering, and I'm sure a lot of people are going, well, why haven't you got stuff like Heavy Storm and MST and, you know, your standard staple stuff, and especially with Call of the Haunted now being up to 2 and stuff like that. Now, with all due respect, I understand all this, and I also know that stuff like Swords of Revealing Light's up to 2 as well now. But considering the fact that I would probably side deck stuff like Call and MST, I'm not going to put Heavy in because I've got Dark Magic Attack, so there's no strategy, so it doesn't really work that way. Whereas Dark Magic Attack, I've got a much more flawless way of getting rid of them. MST, yeah, I'll probably side deck that. The other cards I'd probably side deck is stuff like Cybernetic Magician, which is good for like all those overpowered monsters my opponent has, you know, especially with this whole new era with Zeal and these Exceeds and these overpowered synchro monsters that you see out in many meta decks these days. So if I was to play it in competition, I'd probably side deck stuff like MST, Cybernetic Magician, Double Spell, you know, stuff like that that would really affect the opponent. My most powerful card in it is probably Supreme Arcanine Magician standardly, but I think Mahavilo is actually an underdog because combined with Mage Power, United We Stand, and Wonder Wand. Now I know that seems like a very unlikely scenario, but you never know if it could happen. It basically gains 1500 because it gains 500 for each equip spell onto it, so that's 3 is 1500 is 3050, plus Wonder Wand is 3550. Plus the extra 1500 it gains from Mage Power is 5050. Then plus the 800 more for United We Stand is 850. Plus it can gain 800 more with more cards on it. You know, it can be very, very powerful. Plus, if I have a Royal Degree already on the field, it gains another 500 attack. So it can be over 6,000 attack. Mahavilo is probably one of those cards people go overlook and say, well, it's not that powerful, it's only a level 4, it's only got 1500 attack, 1550 attack, it's not very powerful. No. Mahavilo is actually surprisingly good, as I say, and that's the reason why I put it in my deck. I know a few people probably were wondering why at first, but that's mainly the main reason for it. But as I say, I'm pleased to bring back my Dark Magician set, and I'm very glad to be getting back into it all, especially with me having the nostalgic fit that I've been having recently with Yu-Gi-Oh! With like stuff like Yu-Gi-Oh! Forbidden Memories and Nightmare Troubadour and stuff like that, and I even recently purchased the Yu-Gi-Oh! 10th anniversary movie as well, which I've yet to watch, funnily enough. So yeah, it's all very unique really, and I wanted to build an action deck which builds around the Dark Magician and his companions once again. It's more like a modern day Yu-Gi-Moto deck, I suppose you could say. So yeah, that's it really for the video. I'm sorry I haven't done one in so long, but I have been really busy, and I'm going to university on I'm going to be a university student on the 26th of September, so I may not get more time again, but if in future I might do new stuff. If I ever get a video capture card and stuff like that, I might do let's plays or walkthroughs of certain games, maybe even including stuff like the Yu-Gi-Oh! Games, but also stuff like Resident Evil and Zelda and stuff like that, but that's only if I get it, remember. If not, you might see more deck videos, like you might see my rehashed UC deck yet again, and stuff like that. But I'll try and make something before I go back, but I'm not going to promise anything. So I apologise for anyone who's like, well, we want more off you, but I am a busy man, so keep that in mind, please. But until then, yeah, I wish you all well, and thank you for watching this video, and again, as I say, I'll try and do more in the future, but we'll wait and see. So, yep, this is Dark Zogos01, saying, see you around, guys.